Hey Bobcat fans, Brent Vegan, your head coach. I want you to consider joining the quarterback club if you aren't already, and if you are, please consider raising that level. Our place in the national scene right now has so much to do with the continued growth of the quarterback club. I know it was a bold move 25 years ago to see a need and to create the club, and without it, hard to say where we would be. I think the week in, week out support we feel is one thing, but really what the quarterback club I feel allows us to do is when we have to make decisions, we don't have to think twice. Whether that comes down to recruiting, how we develop our players, how we attempt to retain our players, how we do the same thing with our coaches. The support that the quarterback club has given us has allowed us to build this program. It has allowed us to increase our expectations to the point where we only have one expectation. And I know that's been the goal over these 25 years for the quarterback club, is to put Bobcats football in the national spotlight and ultimately win that final game. And that's obviously what we aim to do, but certainly appreciate anything and everything the quarterback club has done and will continue to do for Bobcat football. The biggest thing I want to do from my position as head football coach is thank you. Thank you for all you've done in prioritizing Bobcat football, and thank you for all you'll continue to do in the years to come as we continue to have needs and continue to want the same thing, which is ultimately raising that trophy at the end of the year. Thanks a lot, and go Cats.
Checking in now, St. George, Utah, which is the site of the season opener for the defending national champion Montana State Bobcats, the head coach of Utah Tech, Lance Anderson, joining us here. Coach, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, you bet. It's great to be with you today.
Well, Coach, I know we talked a couple times over the last couple of years because you guys have played a heavy non-conference against Big Sky Conference teams, so it seems like there's been a lot of crossover with various teams from around the Big Sky. But now you guys are in the Big Sky and you get to open your season with a Big Sky Conference game. So tell us about the transition from your seat. What's it been like for you as the head coach, sort of moving now into Big Sky Conference mode?
I think it's a great move for our program. I think it's a great move for our entire athletic department, it's a great thing for the future. It's going to be a challenge for us now. There are a lot of great football teams in the Big Sky, a lot of really good players, coaches, but I think ultimately some of the geographic and regional, rivalries and proximity of so many of the schools, so many of us in the Big Sky sharing the same recruiting footprint in the West. It's really it cuts down on our travel from what we had in the UAC. So I just think it's going to be a really positive move, but we know it's going to be a challenge, but it's a great thing for the future of our program.
Well, from your seat, I know you loved the potential that Utah Tech and St. George both sort of combined give you as a football program. Where do you think you've made the biggest strides forward as a program here these last couple of years?
Again, I think maybe progress is a little slower than I would like. Maybe taking a little longer, but I see a lot of things that have improved. And I mean, it starts with some of the off-field things, some of the academic things. Just getting away from those APR penalties, getting our academics in place the way that they need to be. But I mean, each year I think our football team has gotten better. And you saw last year we were much more competitive. Didn't have as many wins as we would like, but we were in a lot of games, a lot of close games, a lot of games where we had opportunities in the fourth quarter, where I feel like we are a more physical football team. We are a faster football team. We are more talented. I feel like our guys have started to understand and buying into the work ethic that's required, the accountability that's required. And I see us definitely improve. As I look at fall camp this year, again, I don't know what it'll translate to in terms of wins, but we are a much better football team. We've significantly improved, and I think the biggest thing for us this year is we've got to maintain being as competitive as we were last year, but then we've got to find a way to take that next step of winning some of those games, because ultimately in this sport, that's what you're judged on, or wins and losses. We're definitely headed in the right direction. We'll see how soon we can get to where we want to be.
You've been doing this for a long time, between your time as an assistant and now a head coach. What is the mental process of learning how to win? Because we've seen that with a lot of teams that are sort of on the come up. You have to figure out a way how to win. I mean, you harken back to like your guys' first game last year against UC Davis. You're in the mix. You're in it all the way down to the wire, and they end up finally figuring out a way to beat you by a single score. So what's the differences? Like, how do you hone in mentally being able to finish games like that?
I think a lot of it is, it is confidence, understanding, how to execute in those critical situations. And it might not just be the end of the game, but it could be, third downs in the game. It could be, when you're in the red zone. Those are all such critical situations in a game. And, they often determine, who wins and who loses. And so obviously we're trying to place our team in those situations through practice. I think the off season, developing that mental toughness, learning how to finish, understanding how to get through difficult times, and be able to weather adversity. That's all. Those are all things that come up in a football game. So I think we, as coaches, we all try to do those little things to help train our teams to do that. And I think what we've got to continue to do is keep putting ourselves in those situations. You mentioned the UC Davis game last year. Yeah, we want to have 17-point leads in the second half. We just got to find a way to finish those. Or even at the end of that game where we have the ball with a chance to go down and score and either win the game or tie the game. We were in the same situation against NAU. We had a similar situation against Central Arkansas, right in the game against Idaho. It is just, you got to continue to put yourself in those situations, and eventually you're gonna learn to finish.
Well, a stout challenge, certainly, with the number one team in the country coming to St. George on Saturday night. So, just broadly, what do you think of this challenge for your team?
Well, it is a big challenge for sure. Obviously, the defending national champions, and boy, you look at how many key returners they have back, which is, that's a tough challenge for us. You look at the number of guys on their offense, number of guys on defense. The number of guys, the specialists and special teams guys, key guys that are back. So it's going to be a big challenge. But the great thing for us is it is at home, and we get a chance right off to play the best team in our conference, and that will really give us a good indication of exactly where we are as a program. There'll be things we're doing well, things we need to improve on, places where we match up well, and it'll be a great measuring stick for us.
I'm Seth Bodner. I've led soldiers in Iraq and through the Philippine jungles as a Green Beret. But now, I'm a dad, and I'm worried about their future. Our country's being torn apart by politicians in D.C. who are there to get rich. They just vote the party line, not what's best for their state. I'm running for U.S. Senate as an independent to stand up for Montana. So if you're sick of politics as usual, stop voting for politicians as usual. That's why I approve this message.
In 1959, at Street's Grocery in Whitefish, Montana's special spice was born. Alpine Touch. It's the taste you grew up with, well seasoned through the test of time. As the tradition carries from one Montana generation to the next. From its humble beginnings to a trusted brand, here's to the next 60 years. Alpine Touch. Montana's special spice since 1959.
Well, it's certainly been fascinating to analyze Montana State this offseason because there hasn't been a ton to analyze. Obviously, they're the defending champions, but they didn't have a lot of movement, right? Like they maintained most of their best guys. Most of those guys came back. They only lost 8 guys off of last year's team. So the stability is obviously a huge key for what Montana State does. Stability is obviously a thing that every program cultivates. What do you think of just the stability Montana State has been able to cultivate on their end of things?
Oh, it's impressive. I know in the offseason we went back and looked at, defending national champion. I'm sure they lost a lot of key guys, and like you said, they did not. And so I think that's a real testament to the program they've built there, and just the continuity there. And that's why we don't expect them to do a lot different than what they did last year, because they were very successful doing it, and they've got a lot of good football players that play at a very high level. I think you look at a program like that, and that's a great model for what we would try to build here, where it's difficult in today's age of NIL and transfer portal, things like that. But you want to build a program like that where kids want to be there. They want to be a part of it. They enjoy playing with each other. They enjoy playing for their coaches. They enjoyed representing the university and the community. And I think they've done a great job of building a program like that. And that's what we would like to be able to do here.
Justin Lamson coming back as a returning starter, obviously a huge key for Montana State. What have you seen out of MSU's quarterback? What do you think of just the matchup of MSU's offense versus the Utah Tech defense?
He is a very talented quarterback, dual threat guy. He throws the ball well, but boy, he he runs well. He can buy time in the pocket. I think on offense, Montana State just does a very good job of finding ways to run the football, and that sets up so much of everything else they do. The pocket movement throws, the play action throws, things like that. And so one of the first things for us defensively is we have to be able to slow down their run game a little bit. We can't make them, do whatever they want the entire game. So we got to slow that run game down. And then, we have to be able to contain, Justin Lamson. You can't let him get out and run. You got to be able to keep him in the pocket. Then with an excellent receiver like Taco Dowler and the rest of their receiving crew, you got to be sound in the secondary. You got to be, tight with your coverage. You got to be able to tackle, once those guys get the ball. So again, I think it starts with being able to slow down the run game for us, being sound in what we do. We got to be able to tackle well, and almost the key in any game is, turnovers, determine so much of the outcome. So defensively, we got to find some ways to take the football away.
Offensively, what do you think are some of the strengths of your football team, and what do you think of that side of the matchup?
I think we've got some talent at the quarterback position. I think we've got more experience. So I'm expecting us to take a jump at that position where we need to be more consistent. We need to perform at a higher level, and I would expect us to do that. That's what I've seen, throughout spring ball and throughout fall camp. I think we've got some talented running backs in a guy like Ace Chapman, Junior Curtis, Kona Kroll. One of the big questions for us coming into the season was our receiving core, where we've got a lot of new guys there. We don't have a lot of experience, but that was a place that we needed to upgrade from last year. We needed more playmaking ability. We needed more guys who could, make plays after the catch and make guys miss. And I believe in our receiver room we have upgraded. I believe we are more athletic. We're more talented there. So one of the keys for us on Saturday night offensively is, we've got to be able to finish drives. We've got to be able to, run the football. And at the end of those drives, we got to score points. Whether that's touchdowns, whether that's field goals, those drives need to end in points.
Well, last thing, then, what will be some of the keys for your team on Saturday night in St. George?
I think really I'll go back to, again, on both sides of the line of scrimmage. We've got to be stout. We've got to be able to stop the run on defense. We've got to find ways, to run the ball on offense. We've got to be able to protect the quarterback on defense. We've got to be able to get to the quarterback and create some of those takeaways. So I think a lot of it will start up front just with our physicality. And if we can do that, we'll have a chance to stay in the game and make some plays. But it really starts with that physicality and being able to stop the run and find ways to run the football.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much for chiming in, and good luck on Saturday.
You bet. Sounds great. We look forward to it.
Sweet, thank you. Town & Country Foods is proud of its tradition of providing excellent customer service and quality groceries at an affordable price. Town & Country Foods is proud to be locally owned and operated across the state of Montana, and they are proud to support Montana State Athletics. Town & Country Foods is 100% employee-owned, and they have 9 locations serving towns throughout Montana. Town & Country Foods is in Bozeman, Belgrade, Helena, Livingston, Lewistown, Billings, and in Dillon. Their focus is on great food at a great price with a huge selection of organic and natural foods. For more information, visit tncfoods.com.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road, pump it up, oh yeah.
Our preview coverage of Montana State at Utah Tech continues. Checking in now with the Thunderbirds defense, because I do think that's going to be an interesting matchup in the game. Utah Tech defensive coordinator Ray Clark joining us here on ESPN Radio. Coach, appreciate you for being here. How's it going?
It's good. It's good. Just prepping for practice, trying to clean up yesterday's get betters, and get those right today, as well as give them some new looks. So keeping busy for sure.
Well, tell us about just sort of the evolution of the Trailblazer defense there at Utah Tech. What sort of things have you guys tried to implement? Obviously, your head coach is a defensive guy that has a great defensive reputation around college football. So how has that sort of influenced the unit you hope your unit has as an identity in 2026?
Yeah, for sure, because that identity truly is that starting point. Is, first we want to be, a team that or a unit that can have all 11 guys executing their one job they have. That's a starting point, is knowing what to do. And then past that, to be on the field, all 11, you need to have a physical presence about yourself. We want everybody to be able to strike blocks and knock them back, everybody able to tackle and knock those guys back, and then playing with great effort, flying around. And again, 11 guys, not 10, 11 guys swarming to the football, playing as hard as they can. So really those three things is knowing what to do, playing physical, and then playing with great effort. And then there's still more in that, playing situational football, some different layers of what we're trying to do, but that's kind of the key ingredients that we've focused on.
Well, obviously, there's been a lot of change at Utah Tech over recent years. Certainly, you guys coming in as a staff a couple of years ago, but also there's the growth of St. George, the growth of the town, but also the growth of the university, and now this new transition, joining the Big Sky Conference. So how do you sort of seize the momentum? It feels like there's a lot of momentum there. I've covered a couple of games down there, and you can tell it's certainly something that's building. How do you sort of seize that now as you guys enter into one of, if not the most competitive leagues in the FCS?
Yeah, definitely. And I was here for Coach Anderson's first year, left the past year, and then now I'm back. And both in the year I was here and then even watching the film and keeping up with them last year, is there are good moments. There are good moments, and there are things to build on. It's just that consistency, doing things consistently, and then eliminating the toxics as well too. So really that's kind of it, is building on the good things that we're doing, eliminating the things that are hurting us. And that's a process that takes time. You want it to be solved today. Even off yesterday's practice, there's a bunch of things that I wish would be eliminated and other things I wish would show up more. But that's just, that's our job right there, is to get the guys, performing at a consistent high level, so we can take that next step. Because going into the Big Sky, like you said, is the most competitive league in this division. So you got to bring your A game. So now we're excited about the challenge.
Well, in the modern era of the Big Sky, there's been some really great defenses that have been built in the state of Utah. Weber was dynamite on defense for a long time. Southern Utah during the peak of the Ed Lamb years was very good on defense as well. And so much of that was because they were able to recruit local guys, right? Like guys that are from right around your guys' area. Such great high school football in Utah. But also I know you guys are getting into Vegas sometimes, in Arizona too. How much faith does that give you, the fact that you do have great defensive talent at your disposal to, if you can get them there, maybe mold them into a unit?
Absolutely. No, we love high school football in Utah. It's it's a lot of big people that live in this state, and there's a lot of programs, not just at the FCS level, but even in the FBS. And I think each program populates their roster well with Utah players. So that's kind of our starting point. And then, like you said, Vegas is just down the road from us. Arizona's right there. Southern California is right there. So we have a good proximity to talent. It's just evaluating, getting the right guys, and then once they get here is developing them, getting them coached up and playing winning football. But no, we're definitely very thankful to be in the state of Utah, because there's a lot of a good defensive talent to recruit. So we're working through that right now.
When it comes to just your unit, who's emerged as a leader over the last couple weeks and months this offseason, and who do you hope to sort of guide you on the field? Yeah,
definitely. Marley, he really sets the tone. He's again, over my time here, I don't know if he's been late to anything. I don't know if he's missed anything for something unexcused. And that's the starting point, is showing up and working hard. So he sets that example. Dalen Love does an incredible job. Brandon Jackson does a great job. Brevin Chisneka is an older guy who's played some football and we're relying on. So, there's some good leadership, and, it starts with doing it by example, but then we've been challenging some of those guys to be more vocal and bring more guys along with them. But those are some of the older guys that set that example for us.
Well, quite a challenge for your team with Montana State coming to town. So, what do you think of sort of this measuring stick that you guys have as your first game here on the dock?
Yeah, it's a heck of a measuring stick. I mean, obviously they won the championship last year, and it's a new team, but they do bring a lot of guys back. But yeah, since I've gotten back here, really we have been focusing on getting better each day, and even knowing we knew game one is going to be Montana State. Our test is the most important thing is right now. Whether that was spring ball, having a good spring ball meeting that day, and then having a good practice the next day. And then even right now, like the game is right around the corner, but the key for us is having a good Thursday practice and cleaning up some of those things that we messed up. And then Saturday, I kind of call it the final exam. We're going to be tested, and we're either the standards that we've been pushing, we've been thinking, we've been executing, but this is what it actually looks like. This is how much further we need to go. So I'm excited about the test, the measuring stick, as you call it, and really just to see our guys go out there, compete, play against somebody else. But yeah, it's a great measuring stick to go up game one.
When I was approached by a group of men, really right out of our national championship appearance, I think they saw NIL as an opportunity to continue to allow our program to grow. And it was very well thought out of. At the time, they didn't just come up with this on a whim. I think they studied other institutions across the country at all levels to be able to do it right, to be able to implement it the right way, align themselves ultimately with Blueprint after talking, I think, with several outside entities on how it should be managed. All our intentions with the Bobcat Collective are in the right place, and that's the most important thing. They're about continuing to promote our program, allowing our guys opportunities to help along with that. I think that's really important. It really, I think, has provided this give and take. Our guys are certainly benefiting from it, but then they're giving back at the same time, whether it's individual opportunities with particular businesses or just in general giving back through the collective to our community.
When the stakes are high and it's win or go home, you need a team you can trust.
That's why Holloway & Hulling is a proud partner of Grizzly Athletics.
Whether you're facing criminal charges, navigating a family law matter, or you've been injured in an accident, our team is here to fight for your rights.
With 9 attorneys and offices both here in Missoula and in Bozeman, we have you covered across western Montana.
Voted Best of Missoula in 2025, we have a proven record of dedication to our clients.
So choose the right team. Choose Montana Grizzlies. Choose Holloway & Hulling.
How would you just describe the challenges Montana State's offense provides to a defense?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to hit it on pretty much all facets. It starts with having a good scheme where they have consistent plays that they run well, and then they use different things to kind of dress those things up, to give the defense problems, to maybe give themselves an advantageous matchup. And then it's, having those matchups. They have a good offensive line. They have a really good quarterback, a really good running back, a good receiving core led by, Taco Dowler, but even there's other good playmakers in there as well too. So it's a challenge on all levels, both from a scheme standpoint, from a personnel standpoint. So yeah, on all facets, we've been challenging our guys that they need to execute. They need to make plays for us to do what we need to do.
A lot of layers to the scheme, like you mentioned, like one thing leads to another thing, and they do a good job of running sort of their base stuff and then building off of that. Mm-hmm. Is there one element, though, of the Montana State offense you need to prioritize slowing down to sort of make that diversity not as great within the scheme?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the starting point is going to be stopping the run. Like I've been telling the guys, if we allow them to, they will run it 50 times a game or 45 times a game. So if we don't stop the run, there's not much else to talk about. And specifically with that, they like the stretch play, the outside zone run play. So kind of we're gearing some things to stop that. But then off that, they have their RPO game, their play action game, different things like that, their gadgets.
Do you like having a conference game as the first game of the year? What do you think of that dynamic?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of being a conference game or not, I'm thinking about just the challenge of Montana State itself.
Right.
So for me, I don't necessarily have an opinion on it being a conference game or a non-conference game. I just know they're a heck of an opponent. It's going to be a good test for us, and we're going to attack it, whether it was a conference game or not. But then knowing the ramifications of it is it will hold a little more weight with it being a conference game. But no matter what, we need to be all off season. We need to be ready to play game one. So we're excited about it.
Ray Clark joining us. Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks so much. Good luck on Saturday, and we'll be following along. And now you guys are in the Big Sky Conference, so thanks so much for joining us here today.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sweet kids.